Hello, and welcome to Kimia Academy. Today's presentation introduces Jalal al-Din Muhammad Rumi. Known simply as Rumi, one of the most influential poets and spiritual teachers in Persian literature. His writings focus on love, unity, and the inner journey of the human soul. In a few minutes, we'll look at his life, the people who shaped him, his major works, and why his message still resonates around the world. Rumi matters for two main reasons. First, his poetry is considered among the greatest in Persian literature, musical, and deeply emotional. Second, his spiritual message is universal. He speaks about compassion, humility, and the search for meaning in a way that connects with people across cultures and religions. Even today, readers turn to Rumi for hope, reflection, and a sense of human connection. Rumi was born in 1207 in Balkh, a major cultural center in the Persian-speaking world. During his early life, his family traveled and eventually settled in Konya, in present-day Turkey. Konya became the place where Rumi studied, taught, and later wrote much of his poetry. This movement across regions also shaped his worldview. He lived at a crossroads of cultures, scholarship, and spiritual traditions. Rumi grew up in a scholarly environment. His father, Baha al-Din Walad, was known as a respected religious scholar and teacher. This background gave Rumi a strong foundation in Islamic studies, ethics, and intellectual discipline. Long before he became famous as a poet, he was trained to think deeply, speak clearly, and guide others. That early education helped him become a trusted teacher in his community. Before the major transformation in his life, Rumi was known primarily as a scholar and teacher. He taught religious sciences and offered guidance to students and followers. In many ways, he had a respected and stable role in society. This is important because it shows that Rumi's later poetic and mystical phase did not come from nowhere. It emerged from a serious intellectual and spiritual foundation. Around 1244, Rumi met Shamsi Tabrizi, a wandering mystic and spiritual teacher. This meeting is often described as a turning point in Rumi's life. Shams challenged him, awakened intense spiritual longing, and shifted his focus from public scholarship toward a more inward, mystical path. Their relationship was profound and, for many people, it helps explain the emotional depth and urgency that later appears in Rumi's poetry. After meeting Shams, Rumi's life changed in visible ways. His writing became more passionate and deeply spiritual, often expressing love as a path to truth and transformation. This love can be understood on multiple levels: human love, spiritual love, and love for the divine. The shift is also emotional. The poetry feels alive with longing, joy, and searching. This is the phase where Rumi becomes not just a teacher, but a timeless poetic voice. One of Rumi's greatest works is the Masnavi, a large collection of spiritual stories and teachings written in verse. It uses parables, short narratives, with meaning to guide readers toward humility, patience, and self-awareness. Many admirers describe it as a central text for Sufi thought because it combines deep spirituality with practical human insight. The Masnavi is not only poetry, it is also a guide for reflection and personal growth. Another major collection is the Divan Shams, often associated with Rumi's intense spiritual experience after meeting Shams. These are lyric poems, emotional, musical, and sometimes surprising. They express longing, joy, and the feeling of being drawn towards something greater than the self. In this work, Rumi's language becomes more direct and passionate, as if he is speaking from the heart in the moment. It is one of the reasons his poetry feels so immediate even today. Across Rumi's work, certain themes appear again and again. Love is central, not just romantic love, but a love that expands the heart and transforms the person. Unity is another theme. The idea that beneath differences of language, culture, or background, human beings share a common inner reality. Compassion matters because, for Rumi, spiritual growth is not separate from how we treat others. His poetry invites us to look inward and become more open, more humble, and more kind. Rumi's influence spread far beyond his lifetime. Within Persian literature, he is a towering figure whose style, imagery, and spiritual depth inspired generations. Over time, translations introduced his work to wider audiences, and today he is read around the world. His ideas also influenced spiritual communities and artistic traditions. While different readers approach him in different ways, literary, philosophical, or spiritual, many agree that his writing speaks to universal human questions. Rumi remains relevant because he addresses challenges that people still face. Feeling lost, searching for meaning, dealing with change, and wanting connection. His work reminds us that personal growth is possible, that we can move from fear to openness, from isolation to compassion. In a world that often feels divided, his emphasis on unity and humanity can be especially powerful. Whether you read him as poetry or as spiritual teaching, his words can encourage reflection and resilience. Thank you for listening. If you'd like to explore Iranian history, literature, and culture more deeply, we invite you to join Kimia Academy. Our goal is to make learning accessible, meaningful, and connected to the richness of Persian heritage. If you have any questions about Rumi, his major works, or how to continue learning, we'd be happy to help. Thank you again.